the edge of a moment. With squealing tires, the bus slowly came to a stop, its doors groaning open. Abby's first step after the long journey felt weak. Her shoes crunched in the snow as she looked around and slung her bag over her shoulder, her breath curling in the crisp December air. The familiar sight of her childhood town, a quiet corner of North Carolina, had hardly changed in the years she'd been away. Christmas lights flickered in the windows of the small brick houses, and a gentle dusting of snow clung to the evergreens lining the main street. Home, she thought, although it hadn't been a home to her for years, and it certainly lost that feeling long ago. She was simply here to spend the holidays with her mother, celebrate her birthday, and finally take a deep breath after years of grueling studies. But as she adjusted the strap of her duffel bag, she collided with someone. Hard. The road was slick with fresh snow, and Abby's boots failed to find purchase. She slipped, her arms flailing as gravity yanked her down. She hit the ground with a thud, snow seeping into her coat. "Ow!" she muttered, wincing. Before she could move, a pair of strong hands reached out to help her up. "You okay?" The voice was warm, concerned. Abby looked up. Irritation flickered through her until her brain caught up to what just happened. She froze. The man before her was impossibly familiar. His sharp blue eyes, the dimple in his cheek as he frowned. It was as if she were staring at one of the few old photographs she kept of her father. Luke, a man she never knew. Her father who left her and her mom so soon after Abby was born. It couldn't be. This man looked no older than 30. Her father, if he were alive, would be nearing 60. "Are you okay?" the man asked again, still with a firm grip on her shoulders, as if she might collapse again if he let go. Abby struggled to find words. I think so. Let me get you a coffee. That'll help." Unable to object, and with her thoughts spinning, she found herself following him into a small coffee shop she didn't recognize. Was this new? Had she just never noticed it before? The place had an old-fashioned charm, with a jukebox humming softly in the corner, and a menu written in looping cursive script. "Hi, Luke. What can I get you today?" The girl behind the counter smiled warmly. He ordered 2 cups of steaming black coffee, while Abby sat down at a small table by the big window. She looked outside at the snow-dusted street, the glowing Christmas decorations, the town she knew so well. Yet something felt different, familiar, but not quite right. "I'm Luke, by the way," the man introduced himself as he set the cups down. Yes, she heard that. But she wasn't processing it. Abby's stomach twisted. "I'm Abby." "That's a pretty name. Are you from here, Abby? or just visiting. The small talk momentarily distracted her from the gnawing sense of unease. A little bit of both, I guess. I was born here, but moved away when I went to college. He nodded, sipping his coffee. Abby studied his face. The only pictures she had of her dad were old and grainy. Not much to go on. But this man felt so eerily familiar. Maybe a long-lost brother? A cousin? Someone with an uncanny resemblance to her father? Maybe this was the reason her dad disappeared so suddenly after she was born. Maybe he was the reason. She cleared her throat, trying to form a coherent sentence. So, what about you? Are you from around here? Yeah, born and raised. And what do you do? Abby needed to know more. Nothing much to tell? I work odd jobs here and there, but I'm trying to find something more permanent. Maybe move to a bigger place next year. They each took another sip of coffee. Abby glanced around again. She didn't recognize the people in the cafe. The decor seemed off, more old-fashioned. Then something else struck her. I don't recognize this place, she muttered, almost to herself. Luke heard her. Really? It's been here forever. Maybe I just never paid much attention, she said, forcing a small smile. You should. It's a great place. He laughed suddenly and pointed toward the jukebox in the back. That's where my wife and I shared our first kiss. We're expecting a baby girl any day now. Abby blinked. Oh, she couldn't help but smile at the small anecdote. He even blushed slightly. Sorry, I don't know why I just said that. His voice lowered. Now it was his turn to study her. There was something about her. The same blue eyes as his. But her hair, light and wavy, falling in big waves around her shoulders. You remind me of her, he said, realizing it. Abby's fingers tightened around her cup. Oh, my wife, he said, his voice softer now. Her hair, the way you move your face, you look like her. Abby swallowed hard, but remained silent. Luke chuckled awkwardly, shaking his head as if trying to get rid of the thought. It's strange, though. You feel familiar? Have we met before? Abby forced a small smile. What do you say to that? With this feeling in her gut, she couldn't explain. No, I don't think so. He nodded slowly, like trying to fit together pieces of a puzzle that wouldn't align. Weird. Weird didn't even begin to cover it. Maybe his wife was the missing piece in all of this. What's her name? Your wife? Abby asked, her voice sharper than she intended. Part of her already knew, but needed him to confirm it. Julie. Luke leaned forward slightly, his elbows resting on the table, as though he could read the answer in her face. You know her. Are you related? Abby's heartbeat thundered in her ears. This couldn't be a coincidence. His name was Luke. His wife's name was Julie. They were expecting a baby girl. Cold realization crept over her like a shadow. Could this be the man who vanished when she was a baby? Could this actually be her father? She opened her mouth, her breath quick and shallow. No, I don't think so. The cafe's warmth faded. The clinking of cups, the murmur of voices, all drowned out by the rush of blood in her ears. Luke wasn't moving. He stared at her, eyes searching, waiting, and then, like a dam breaking, she couldn't hold it in anymore. I think she's my mom. Abby's voice trembled. I think you're my dad. You disappeared almost 25 years ago. Right after I was born. Luke didn't react at first. The weight of her words sank into the space between them, heavy and unmovable. Seconds passed like hours. She wanted to run, but stayed glued to her seat opposite of him. Then he finally spoke. That's not possible. I'm right here. I'm not missing. I come to this place all the time. He shook his head, as if refusing to let the realization settle. Besides, I would have been a kid, 6 years old back then. Back then? The words caught in Abby's throat. Back when? Her fingers trembled as she gripped the edge of the table. She inhaled sharply, steadying herself before asking the question she suddenly dreaded. What year is it? Luke's face was a storm of emotions. Confusion, disbelief, something close to fear. 1999. Abby's breath left her in a silent gasp. The world around her warped, twisted. The answer she had been looking for had been right in front of her all along. She had stepped back in time, like a thief in the night. I'm here. The key is under the welcome mat. The alarm is off, and Reuben is at the kennel. Should be no issue getting inside. Neighbors? Out of town. What time does John arrive home? He's working late, then going to the gym. You have time. For your sake, you best be right. I'm not looking to go back in the pen for some petty crime bullshit. Just get the file off the computer. Easy. Easy. Then why haven't you done it yourself? You know why. Yeah, we know. Are you in yet? Yes. The office is down the hall and to the left. Don't turn on the lights. I'm not a fucking amateur. Shit. What is it? What happened? Nothing. Just some asshole left boots lying in the middle of the hallway. John isn't the best housekeeper. Really, you don't. He keeps his other laptop in the third drawer. Got a problem. What? It's locked. Got a key? No, but he's not that creative. Look around the desk. It's gotta be around somewhere. Gum wrappers, crumpled Post-its, pile of receipts. This guy is a hoarder. I know, but he's the only way in. Yeah, so you've said. Listen, the boss doesn't take kindly to liars. No lies. This is legit. Your funeral. You're a funny guy. You know that? Now shut up and find the key. I said you had time, but let's not chance it. Seems to me I'm taking all the chances. Once you find what we need, I'll give credit where credit is due. Think I found something? Is it the key? Does it work? Got it. But we have another problem. What problem? Just open the laptop and find the file listed as hobby. There is no laptop. Drawer is empty. Shit. He must have it. Why on earth would he take that shit to work with him? Think he's on to you? Nah, I'm the least of his worries. Better think of another way. Boss isn't a patient guy. I know. Just give me a minute to think. Shit, this was the best way. We don't have a minute. We got company. No, can't be John. He's still at work. Sure about that? Positive? His tracker says he's sitting at his shitty cubicle as we speak. We're good. False alarm. Just some idiot lost and used the driveway to turn around. Fuck, man. You had me worried. Look, here's what you're going to do. First, need you to lock the door, then break a window. I'll arm the alarm. He'll get the call and come home. Wait him out. When you seize the opportunity, get the laptop. I could just kill him. No, you can't just kill him. What are you talking about? Just stick to the plan. Hide, get the laptop, find the file, and get out. Never good at hiding, but I'll see what I can do. The door is locked, ready for the broken window. Say when. When? Ooh, hell. What happened? Cut my fucking hand. You wearing gloves? Can't just be leaving blood all over the place. That's how people get caught, asshole. I'm not an amateur. Of course, I have gloves on. Been doing this longer than you've been alive, you snot-nosed yuppie. Just keep your trap shut. Shit, the alarm didn't go off. What a damn surprise. Another problem. Just a sec. I need to shut off the power and reset it. Stop fucking telling me and just do it. All right. Get ready to cover your ears. 3, 2, 1. Aw, fuck, that's loud. Hide, hide, hide. Turn that shit off. I can't. John needs to be notified. Hurry up! I'm going fucking deaf here. Hold on. You hold on, you asshole. Alarm is blaring through my fucking eardrums. When I get a hold of you, no one will recognize you. I'm going to take my fucking time. My knife will dull and need sharpening between breaks. All right, John is on the move. Shut it off. The company will in 3, 2, 1. I'm going to kill you. Don't forget to hide. I'm in the closet already. Ran in here after the alarm went off. John is en route. Fantastic. So, boss is calling. Going to join him on the call. Boys, we have the file yet? Not yet, boss. What's the holdup? This entire operation is a total fuck-up. This yuppie has us chasing our tails. He's a fucking liar. I'm not lying. The file exists. How was I to know he would bring the laptop with him? He's been your mark for months. Gentlemen, enough. I want that file. Yuppie and my guy is the best. No one better to lift sensitive material than him. Guide him best you can and let him do his job. Yes, sir. Yes, boss. Good. Talk to you boys soon. You are such an asshole, yuppie. Me? You're the one trying to get me killed? Oh, I'm not trying. I'm going to kill you. You'll forget all about maiming me when you get that file. Not maim, kill. As in murder. Yeah? Well, that will have to wait, because John has arrived. I'll just kill him. No, just be patient. He's in the house. Remember the plan. Wait him out. Once you see an opportunity, take it. We can't leave here without the file. I don't know how I ever got tied up in this. I mean, you get a little behind in your bets, and next thing you know, You're babysitting some asswipe for the boss and breaching intel. The file is there. I know it is. He just went in the bathroom, and the shower is kicked on. I'm taking my shot. Don't kill him. Wait. Shit. I'm a dead man if we don't get that file. I have a sure thing in play, about to make a huge payoff. This can't be the end for me. Got the laptop. Looking for the file now. It's named Hobby. Go it. Transferring. 30%, 50%, 75%, 90%, 100%. We got it in the clear, yuppie. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Don't thank me. I'm still leaning towards killing you. More importantly, I need to get this file to the boss, who will be pleased to own hard evidence against this freak. Good job, yuppie. You may just live after all. I suggest you no longer take bets. Hell, get out of the game altogether, or else the boss may find more work for you. And if you don't deliver next time, I'll see you at the funeral. Goodbye, for now. Wait, don't hang up. Aw, yuppie. Gonna miss me? Don't sweat it, kid. What was that? Sounded like a gunshot. Did you shoot him? What's going on? Talk to me. Hello, Charlie. Hello, John. Quest in time. Where is Julianne? It is a question that has haunted my mother, father, and myself. It was 3 years ago when my life changed forever. My sister, Julianne, disappeared coming home from Red Oak Park, a county recreation site about 20 miles west of Jonesburg, a small town south of Cleveland, Mississippi. The park had a pond with access to Lake Colbert and the Mississippi River. Lots of trees and hiking trails, campgrounds, and a couple of boat docks. My sister and her boyfriend had gone to the park to celebrate the Thanksgiving holiday. The two had gotten into an argument. She had gotten mad, told him to find his own way home, and had gotten in her car and left. First of all, you might be wondering why my sister was driving. That had a lot to do with the argument they had got into. Her boyfriend, Steve Simich, was currently a stalker in a grocery store, did not have a car, at least not one that worked, was trying to finish college, although not very successfully, and didn't seem too worried about whatever was ahead. My sister, on the other hand, Julianne Harden, had finished college, worked a full-time job, and was preparing for a life with a house, a family, and a future. Although there was no doubt she loved him, I believe that, looking back, she was beginning to doubt how much he loved her. His unwillingness or inability to move forward in a responsible manner was a red flag she couldn't ignore. So, that being the case, according to Steve's account, she blew her stack, fussed at him, and jumped in the car, speeding off down the road. She was never seen again. The police were called when she didn't make it home that night. Steve was interviewed, but the fact that he had to call a friend to pick him up at the park, something that was verified by the police, seemed to clear him of any part in my sister's disappearance. We called on friends and family, searched the roads between our house and the park, but found no sign of her or her car. 3 days later, her car was found in a church parking lot. There was no video or security camera, so no evidence of who left it there. No matter how we searched or the police investigated, no evidence of her has been found since. I was 17, a freshman at Hobart University when this happened. She was 22, a graduate from the same college and just starting her life. Although my questions started then, my quest didn't begin until my senior year, when I was finishing up a degree in criminal justice. My last semester at college, I had a chance to get an internship with the county sheriff's office, and I worked to get located at the same precinct that had investigated my sister's case. I did not mention my sister because I was afraid that they might see my placement there as some kind of conflict of interest. Luckily, it had been long enough since my sister disappeared that the detective assigned to the case, Jonathan Lucker, seemed not to recognize me or remember my name. I kept a low profile, determined not to be found out. I started in late January, with responsibilities to be assigned on a daily basis. My boss was Sergeant Holcroft, a middle-aged black woman who talked with a hard-nosed tone, but showed empathy and caring if you looked deep enough. In between cleaning interview rooms, filing personnel records, and filling out supply forms, I perused the computer, which I now had at least limited access to, and prowled the evidence locker to see what I could find out about my sister. Unfortunately, I could find very little that I didn't already know. She had left the park about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, according to her boyfriend's testimony, and started home. That was the last time she was seen. Being a long stretch of mostly rural highway, they could find no witnesses that saw her on the road, nor could they find anything that showed how the car ended up at the church parking lot. There weren't any fingerprints, DNA, blood, or any other clues in the car. And I was now determined to find out what happened to her. The only thing they found in her car was a plastic fork, not used, lying on the floorboard. Her purse and coat were in the back seat, as if they had been moved out of the way. Did that mean someone had joined her in the car? No one knew. I pored through the files on the computer and in the records themselves, looking at every note, form, report from other agencies that had been gathered until I could name, pay, and paragraph where a certain fact could be found. "What are you looking at?" A voice suddenly interrupted me as I pored over papers on the back row desk that I had taken over. I was so concentrating on understanding everything that I could about my sister's case, I didn't notice the approach of Detective Lucker. This might not be good, I thought. Sorry. I sat back in my seat. I thought I would familiarize myself with some processes used to investigate cases, including your sister's case, I see. he said. Detective Lucker was short, slightly bald-headed, with a thin gray mustache, thick fingers, and eyes that looked straight through you. I sat back even more, surprised that he knew who I was. I had been counting on a non-existent anonymity, it seems like. He smiled. Yes, I remember you. I don't forget cases that haven't been solved, nor the people involved in them. I also don't have any problem with you researching the case. However, that may not be true of everyone in the office. There are 2 caveats, he continued. One is that you don't do anything that would jeopardize the case. You don't contact anyone. You don't mess with the evidence. You don't talk to anyone else in the office. If you have questions, you come to me. Secondly, if you come up with any facts, theories, or other information related to your sister's disappearance, you come directly to me immediately. Do you understand? I nodded enthusiastically. From having to sneak around, watching my back, to being given permission to research all I wanted to, discreetly, of course, was more than I could hope for. Yes, sir, I answered quickly. Anything that you have to tell me? He followed up with the to-be-expected question. No, sir. I shook my head. Nothing yet, he pointed at me. If you do find anything, let me know immediately. I will give you some hints, he continued. The boyfriend was investigated thoroughly. He had no motive, and we were able to confirm that he was at the park until he was picked up by a friend about 4:30. We could also not find any other friends or acquaintances who had motive or opportunity. She was traveling home, alone. You will see all this on the report. Her phone stopped sending signals not long after it left the park. Whether she turned it off or the battery died, we don't know. From what Steve told the family after it happened, I interrupted. He tried to call her many times after she left. Knowing my sister, she probably turned her phone off so as to not be bothered by his frantic messaging. The detective nodded. That sounds reasonable. Again, let me know if you find anything, he said, and walked away. I took that as a command not to be trifled with, but I didn't care. Anything I found out would have been on his desk the next day anyway. So, in that regard, nothing had changed. Except now, I had permission. I didn't have to feel guilty about doing my behind-the-scenes snooping, and better yet, my quest to find out what happened to my sister was on full throttle. I am sure there are cliches that I haven't used yet, but stay tuned. I spent the next several days in between doing the job that I was actually hired to do, going through the folders that I had found in the evidence files. The police had very little to go on. They didn't know when or where she disappeared, except it was somewhere between the park and the town, 20 miles away. They looked at security cameras along the main road, but although they saw similar makes and models, were not able to positively identify my sister's car. One note said that a similar type of vehicle was shown passing by a gas station, but did not show up in any other images between there and town. Again, did that have anything to do with my sister? Was it someone else who turned off to go home, visit someone, or head down a more rural road where only farms existed with no cameras or security images? I continued my research over the next several weeks, heading toward the time when my internship was fast running out. When the college semester ended, so did my internship. Luckily, the officer I worked for basically let me do my own thing and didn't assign me too many additional responsibilities that would make my research even more difficult. I wondered if Detective Lucker had said something to her, but I was afraid to ask. More and more, I became frustrated because there was so little to go on, and I came to appreciate how difficult the initial investigation had been. I feared that my question would remain unanswered until suddenly my duties as an intern helped me find the clue that I had been looking for. I was cleaning up folders from the conference room to be refiled after a meeting when I happened to look at the heading on one file: Sarah Jane Fuller, missing person. The tab on the folder read. Curious, I closed the conference room door, sat down, and opened it up. There were the usual reports and a picture of the missing girl. Attractive white girl with brown hair and a thin, pointed chin. Her eyes seemed to stare at me. I quickly placed it on the table and read the basic details. She had disappeared the year after my sister and was driving from eastern Tennessee through Mississippi, heading to New Orleans. Although there were interstate highways that provided fast and safe passages, for some reason, she was driving along the Mississippi River, taking back roads and rural highways. Her family said that she loved the river and visited it as often as she could, no matter what state she was in. So there was a possibility that she had driven that way for the scenery. Her phone had stopped pinging on Highway 17, just east of Rosewood, a town not far from the river. To me, the interesting part was that my sister Julienne would have taken the same route, at least part of the way. Like my sister, her car was later found in a deserted parking lot. Again, like my sister, there were no security cameras that picked up any footage of her, her car, or anything else. Were there any other missing people in the last 5 or so years? I found another candidate, this one an older man. Timothy Mitchell was last seen at a friend's house on Takeoff Ard in June 2022. Takeoff Road ran south and north of Highway 17. This occurred last year, again in the Thanksgiving or Christmas time frame. Another coincidence? His truck had never been found. I kept looking, but found no other missing persons in that geographic area, at least in the last 5 years. But why that area? It was probably as simple as the perpetrator lived close. But was there more to it? I researched every chance I got. When I wasn't doing my day job, or going to school, or anything else I was legitimately supposed to be doing. The end of my internship was approaching rapidly, and I was fast running out of time. In fact, tomorrow was going to be my last day. I kept looking at the files, searching for anything that might be related. Just as I was fixing to hang it up for the day, the year, and perhaps forever, I found the key. I knew now why the location mattered. Would that lead to the person or persons we were looking for? Would that lead me to Julianne? At noon the next day, I was sitting in my car outside of Josephine's Roadhouse, an old-fashioned restaurant located on Highway 17, halfway between the river and Jonesburg, hoping that the person I was waiting for would show up. I gave a big sigh of relief when a familiar car pulled into the parking lot and Detective Lucker stepped out. I had left an invitation on his desk before leaving the night before, since today I would be involved in out-processing, turning in paperwork, filling out forms, etc., and would probably have very little time to see him in person. The invitation was vague, but stressed that it was not a social event and might be very important to an answer that we both wanted. I met him in the parking lot, and we walked into the building. It was as old-fashioned inside as it was outside, with plaid tablecloths, white walls covered with old portraits, plaster statues on tables in each corner, and pictures of customers above each booth. We sat down and started looking at the menu. I was waiting for the detective to ask something, but he kept quiet, obviously content to leave it up to me. After we ordered, I looked at him, hoping that I wasn't going to sound like an idiot or nutcase. "Thank you for meeting me on short notice," I started off with. He nodded, but didn't reply. "I was researching, as you are aware, and I found some interesting coincidences," I said. "What coincidences?" he asked, already looking intrigued. I told him about the missing people besides Julianne, and stressed that this was only based on an initial search, and there might be more. "What makes you think they are related?" he asked. "The location was the first thing that came to mind," I replied. They were all thought to be either on Highway 17 or approaching or leaving the highway. Also, the time of year. All disappearances occurred in the November or December time frame. "I am assuming you found out what was so special about Highway 17, he asked. I nodded. "I believe I did. That is why I asked you to meet me here today," I said, taking a deep breath. Almost a year before my sister went missing, a wreck occurred on Highway 17. In that wreck, Joanne McKenzie, a 54-year-old mother of two, was killed. She supposedly lost control and hit a tree head-on. The car was old, and the airbag failed to deploy. "Supposedly?" the detective asked, as I had expected him to. "The son, Timothy McKenzie, who was 21 years old at the time, did not agree with the police report. He kept saying to anyone who would listen that it was no accident, that his mother was murdered, and that the police were negligent. He complained to the news, to the city and county authorities, and even to the state. I found records online of letters he wrote to websites and news outlets all the way up until October of the next year. October? The deputy asked, his voice suddenly sounding very curious. I nodded. The last thing I saw was about a month before my sister's disappearance. Maybe he just gave up and stopped fighting a lost cause. Maybe, I agreed. Except he also reached out after my sister's disappearance, as well as the other disappearances, by writing letters or posts about how unsafe our state highways were. You think that he is involved in these disappearances in some way? I do. These disappearances emphasize how unsafe the roads are, and that there are people out there who could be responsible for his mother's death. By causing these people to disappear, he is getting his vengeance on the entire state. But wouldn't these actions result in increased police presence, in making it harder for him to commit future crimes? Maybe, I answered. But it hasn't happened yet. The other thing, as I mentioned, was the time frame. These 3 disappearances occurred within a month or so of the date that his mother was killed. And Mackenzie and his family have a farm off Highway 17. We have time, location, motive. The detective thought for a minute. Even if this unlikely story is true, we have no evidence to tie him to any crime. One other thing. I leaned forward. His mother is buried on a private cemetery on the Mackenzie property. Where is a better place to hide bodies than in a cemetery, especially a private one? And, I continued, even a private cemetery has to be licensed by the county and is subject to health and welfare inspections. I leaned back. My case was made. Now it was up to the detective. He thought for a minute. "Okay," was all he said before getting up to go. "I will take care of it. Any reason that we met here?" he asked his last question. "Yes," I said. "The Mackenzie family owns this restaurant." I waited and watched him leave. I had no doubt that he would find a way onto the property. And, unfortunately, I also had no doubt that he would find the missing people, and that my question would finally be answered. Where was Julienne?